All right, John Walk, LSCSN Lone Star Christian Sports Network. We're here at TAPSCon 2023, and I'm joined by the athletic director at Geneva School, Boerne, Trent Nesmith. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Now, this says interim.
That is correct.
So,
I'll walk you through my story.
okay, let's go.
Okay, so my wife and I moved to Boerne, Texas last year on June 3rd. We drove down from Wichita, Kansas, where I'd spent the last 18 years as an athletic director and dean of students at Wichita Collegiate School in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
And before that, I coached college baseball for 10 years. But when COVID hit our school, I fell in love with golf up there in Wichita, and wanted to go somewhere to play golf on our next school year spring break of 21.
Okay.
And big George Strait fan. Found out he.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome on the south of the Red River for that. Just that alone.
Found out he had owned a golf course down here, Tapatio Springs in Boerne. So we drove down for spring break and golfed that week, and then I went back to Wichita and went through the next school year with a mask and doing temperatures and everything. And last year of 2022, the spring break came, and we decided where we're going to go to play golf, and chose to come back down. And then we just had so many signs from God and people that we had never met before, and conversations that week. As we were driving back up to Wichita, I just told my wife, I want to be that person that says I'm glad he did it and didn't do it. So I went into the school that I worked at and told them I wouldn't be coming back, sold our house and moved to Boerne. And then I got here last summer and really didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't think I'd ever get back into education or coaching at the high school level or anything like that. But I put my resume around in different school districts to be a sub. Mm-hmm. And I got a call from Geneva to come do middle school basketball games, to do tickets. It was the first time I ever did anything for them. And they had a position open up in January, and Eric Burbram called me and said, hey, assistant AD's moving out of state with his wife. I have an opportunity. Would you like to be an assistant AD here? So I started in January, and it was actually an assistant baseball coach with Geneva this year too. It was Coach Steve Rippey, who had coached several years at Tybee and Kerrville. So I had it was awesome coaching with Coach Rippey, coaching high school baseball, assistant AD. And then Coach Julius Scott, after spring break, came in and said that he had taken an assistant job at Texas Lutheran. So now we're in the process of trying to hire a new football coach, and I'm on that committee.
Oh, wow.
And then a couple weeks later, Eric came in and said, hey, I'm taking a head boys basketball job, and I'm going to teach 7th grade Bible study at a school outside of Houston. And in his office, he looked at me and said, would you be interested in being the interim? And I said, sure. So Here we are.
So are you going through a process of potentially being the permanent, or it's just that you guys are so busy on trying to?
Yeah, I think, this Geneva, the school, here's this guy from Kansas who shows up in January. But there's been a lot of good things happening on the school and the leadership, with some new names coming in and new people and stuff. And I think it's a normal thing in the culture of athletics or anything to throw the interim out there and stuff. But if you're asking me, do I have any interest, or do I want to continue or want to be the athletic director? Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, obviously, if you've got to go through the steps of making things happen, and if everybody's happy, then and you're happy, why not? I mean, that's the next progression.
It's like I tell everyone, at least with me personally, is that the bottom line, I'm in this for the kids and the coaches. The word interim, that doesn't matter to me. I'm going in the same way whether I'm not,
right,
to do my job with a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, and that's the great thing about Boerne, the people and the kids that you work with. It's a lot of fun.
One of the things I've noticed about Boerne is that Geneva School Boerne is that you all have done as a school an excellent job from a communication standpoint, as far as presenting a professional image, everything you do. I can't say that I've been at a lot of events this past year, because living in the Houston area, but our main game is on Twitter and assimilating information, what we feel like is most important to a statewide audience. And everything I see that comes out of Geneva is top notch. I mean, just high quality. I don't know if you all are doing that in house, if you're contracting some of that out. Regardless, it's very, very professional.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and that's one of the things when I first came on board at Geneva is something that I noticed right off the bat too. We have some special people on campus that are so in charge of doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the great thing about our community and stuff like that is a lot of people are aware that we do that, and they're not shy to get that information out to the people that need to get it out.
Mm-hmm.
But from the graphics and everything else that we do and stuff like that, it feels top notch. It feels like it's like you're looking at a college or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we take a lot of pride in that.
Well, I mean, I know that there are organizations like TAPS's partner with Gipper that tries to equip schools with tools, but what you're doing is a little bit different. And you can just see that in that presentation, and I can tell you with what we do and to try to promote all private schools, basically anything that's non-UIL, and then all sports, is that I don't always retweet everything, but I see, and so I always know that I'm going to see. I don't have to go reach out to Geneva to find out typically a playoff game when that's going to be. It's typically online because you're wanting to get it out to your community.
Correct.
And it's very important for you to do that.
Correct.
Because you got great support. But I don't have to reach out. So you guys do that extremely well. I mean, obviously you take a look at the website. I mean, just extremely professional. I mean, press release. I mean, it's from what we do. I mean, this is great.
Thank you. Thank you.
So where are you guys at in the process? You talked about Coach Scott deciding to take another role. How are you all lining up for football season?
Excited. Really excited now because we've hired a coach. Coach Grant Gaston came from.
I did see. I'm sorry about that.
It's fine. It's fine. But it was late May or middle of May when we announced that. What was unique for me was that when Coach Scott decided that he was no longer going to be the head football coach at Geneva, and we put it out there that there was an opening, kind of overwhelmed. We had anywhere from 25 to 30 applicants from obviously in the state of Texas, but outside the state of Texas too. So it became a lengthy process of getting it down to, the top 3 or the top 5, and then Coach Gaston. From the moment he through his interview, at least from my perspective and being part of that process, was just blown away and was so excited when the school decided that he was going to be our next head football coach. And he's on campus now. He's met the team. He's working. So we're excited. We're excited to get this thing going.
I think I saw it mentioned. I noticed it when I saw the release, but I saw actually somebody commented that he's a lawyer.
He is a lawyer.
He's a lawyer. And somebody made kind of the Mike Leach path.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, and that was a part of the thing. That's one of the things he talked about and stuff like that. He is a lawyer by trade, but he's been coaching football up there in the Tyler area. I think it's Grace Prep. If I'm
Grace Community. Yeah,
and he also runs this annual summer speed football camp. I mean, he's probably the most all-in football guy that's a lawyer. I mean, he's more football than probably more lawyer that he thinks. But his platform, for lack of a better words or anything, is that God has asked him to minister his faith as a football coach to athletes, and that's what he's called to do, and that's what he's been doing, and he wants to be a head coach. He's going to be our head coach. He's got that opportunity. Here he goes. But at the end of the day, it's all about the discipleship and the ministry.
Academically, you all line up kind of a classical school approach, correct? Is that a correct assessment?
We are a classical school, yes,
yeah,
sir.
like I said, trying to chase 250 schools, sometimes I don't get depth.
I know.
So it's like
I know.
I go with what I see, but But what I'm hearing, maybe even a little different than just a pure classical school, is the expression of faith.
Absolutely. I mean,
And I wouldn't have, and I'll say, I wouldn't have necessarily known that. I mean, and that's not to say it never existed, but it's just
right.
I've not engaged enough to hear that, so I see classical school, but I don't always associate classical with Christian or of faith, but to hear it is great. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah. It's from my understanding, and there's people out there that can explain it way better than I can and stuff like that. I came from a private school up in Wichita, Kansas. And I tell everyone the type of private school that I came from would be very similar around the San Antonio area as St. Mary's Hall as a model, or the same as a St. Mark's, or I'm going to say like Country Day around the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Like an SVC school.
Okay, yeah, we were an SVC school where I came from, one of the original 5, like schools up in Oklahoma, Cassidy, and and stuff like that. From the classical standpoint, these kids, the curriculum and the academics is going to be a little bit different, but it's always going to have that biblical purpose to it. Learning of the Bible, learning, everything that you would learn in church, you're going to learn every day in school.
Sure.
So, and that's one of the things, to be real honest with you, that drew me. One of the reasons I think I am down at Boerne, because I think that's God's way of just His amazing way of working things out. So yes, sir.
Want to take a look here? Just I'm going to pull up the. Where were you guys at this year?
We're 4A.
Oh, see, I knew that. It's kind of like you take a test and you sit there and you have multiple choice and you hover over. Pretty good year. I mean, so overall with.
Yeah, we had
so basically tied for first from a Henderson Cup standpoint combined, but even still from an athletic standpoint alone, 1, 2, 3, fourth overall athletic standpoint. So
yeah, we had a strong year in athletics, and that all that credit goes to the amazing coaches and obviously the athletes and stuff. And again, under Eric Berberum's tutelage as the athletic director, I mean, he just finished his 9th year. I got to come in on the second semester side of it, and I got to see the girls' soccer team go to the Final Four. I got to see the girls' basketball team go to the Final Four and to the finals. I got to be an assistant baseball coach. We went to the Final Four and lost in the semis. We had a young man win the state golf tournament. Had several high places in tennis and cross country and track. So it was a great spring. And then obviously Grady Evans, our fine arts director back at Geneva, everything they did on their side too. But this was all new to me, this Henderson Cup, and I'm glad you asked me that, because I was trying to figure out what is my role in that, and had a conversation. So they're presenting it tomorrow, but there's only one cup. And I said, well, is this the first time? Is this the first time there's ever been a tie? And they said, well, I think in the history of taps and stuff, this is the first time. And I said, well, what do you do? And he said, well, you take a lot of pictures with it. And then you got to decide with Brentwood who's getting a first semester, who's getting a second semester. And so I said, it's like the Stanley Cup in hockey. You keep it for a year, because it's all new to me. And he goes, yeah. So we're going to make some agreement with Brentwood, and congratulations to them.
Sure.
Also.
Absolutely.
But yeah, we're excited that it happened, and it's been great.
What's the biggest challenge for you coming up here in the new year? Other than, I mean,
from your regular athletic, what is new to me, and I'm excited, but I'm a little bit nervous. I'm excited that I'm going to get to meet a lot of new people and new ADs. What I'm nervous about is I can't grasp my mind around it right now from being from Kansas so long. I just do not understand in playoff games where you play at a neutral site. It mind boggles me because you're calling a school that you probably never talked before and asking them if you can go to their court or go to their football field. And I just have a hard time why that is, why you go to a neutral site. And if it's travel or it's geographical or something like that, but I've never heard of it before. So,
Danny, probably never heard of, like coin flips for football playoffs.
That's another one.
I mean,
see, like in Kansas, everyone plays in a league. In Kansas, the private schools and the public schools are in one umbrella under CASHA. They haven't been – there's no modifier yet or separated them out or anything, so you compete at the same level for everything. But you're in a league, so you'll play league games, and you go to what's called district here would be a regional or a sub-state, and you get out of there, 8 teams go to state and stuff at a neutral site.
Okay.
But that sub-state or every football game is played on someone's campus.
Oh, wow.
It's not a neutral site till the state title.
Huh.
Well, Coach, I'll give you a tip on that.
Yes, sir.
Don't flip over the phone and let the other person call the flip, because they're going to win every time. Because we've had that happen before. So I'm just giving you a little tip right there.
No, I actually
Maybe a long drive to a Whataburger somewhere out in the country, but it's worth the drive.
I appreciate that, because I actually, with Coach Rippey, our head baseball coach, when we qualified for state in baseball, we sat in the office talking to the TAP office, and they go, yeah, we're going to flip for home or visitor. Coach, what do you want? They got it, so they said home, and then they go to the other side, well, what dugout do you want? And they actually said that it's happened before where the coach that actually won the toss picked the dugout over being home and visitor. And I was like, okay, this is all new to me when it comes to flipping a coin and stuff.
Hey, these baseball coaches, man, and I was one, you'll flip for a 3-game series over a 1-game series.
That's another thing.
All kinds of things.
That's another thing. Is I was like, you had the option of playing 2 out of 3 or 1, and I was thinking, okay, well, if you get really, really good at pitching, it's just there's a lot of strategy that goes into that. So yeah, but you're playing at a neutral site most of the time, or you play like I was watching. Like, I follow the Boerne high schools really closely too, because I just love sports. But they'll play a game at one site, and then the next day it'll be at another site or something like that. It's just that's the one thing I got to get used to. But no, I'm excited. I kind of know the district from being around for basketball for this year, and baseball and the softball and all that kind of stuff. So I'm familiar with our district. But I'm really excited. Because, like, with baseball, we got to go to the Harper tournament. We got to go to the Hondo tournament. And I love going to other communities and seeing their high schools and meeting their coaches and stuff like that. That's what excites me about this job, is that I get to see something different that I was so used to in Kansas. So, yeah, I'm really excited about this job.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can imagine you bring a lot of energy. Just have enjoyed visiting with you here. And so, first of all, welcome to Texas.
Thank you, sir.
And, I got to make it out there and get out there. 'Cause, I've never actually been on campus.
Like
I said, we're in North Greater Houston, so but again, no, you guys do everything you do, very professional, and keep that up. You guys tag us on a lot of stuff, and if I were to retweet every schools, and I get why schools do it. They do. Joe wins all district.
Yeah,
Susie gets all, and you send a set. I get that, So even though you guys tag us on stuff, which is great, if I were to retweet all schools, everything, we'd have 200 tweets on a day on a feed, and nobody wants that. So we have to be judicious in other than content or material that we create.
Correct.
As far as we have to make an assessment. Go, okay, what would, so like commitments, signings. Playoff site announcements. Those are the things that we're trying to communicate.
Absolutely.
Being a media outlet, if you will.
Absolutely.
So,
well, you guys, for the short term, you do an outstanding job. You don't see this a lot in other places. Just asking me to be on here, it's been a blast, honored. So thank you so much.
Well, yeah, we'll get it up on, we'll load it to YouTube, and then we'll tweet it out through our LSCSN Twitter feed. And I'm sure your folks that'll manage social media will hopefully see it and run with it.
They probably will. Yes, sir.
All right. So again, we've been joined by Trent Nesmith.
Yes, sir.
The brand new athletic director at Geneva School Boerne. Thank you so much for taking time visiting with us.
Thank you.